So today I'm going to be talking about how to get waivers, that's English language test waivers for doctors, international medical graduates that want to practice in Manitoba, Canada. So, and these things I'm saying are going to be according to regulations by the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba. Why am I saying Manitoba in Canada? The reason is this: there are different provinces in Canada, and each province have what they outline as their reasons for waivers and how you can go about these things. So, specifically for the province of Manitoba, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And sit closely with me. That having said that, that brings me to saying you're welcome back to my channel if you're a returning subscriber. But if today is the first time you're coming across this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be bringing information about medical doctors and international medical graduates that want to practice in Canada. If you scroll down, you will see different videos, or I'm also going to tag it here. It will pop up on the step-by-step you can follow to practice in British Columbia, Canada without MCCQ1 and NAC or SKI. Make sure you watch that video. That's going to help you. So let's continue. So the accepted language test and the minimum scores that you should expect for you to practice in Manitoba is this. It is a policy, and going by the policy, IELTS General has now been added with the IELTS academic format, which was previously used. So previously they were using only IELTS academic, but now IELTS General has now been added to it, and that's a wonderful one for some of us that already have IELTS General written. So you can now use it for doctors, and you can use it to practice in Manitoba. Then we have the one they call CELPIP General. CELPIP is the English language test for just Canada. You can't use it in any other country. For now, probably tomorrow you may get to use it in other countries. But it has a minimum score of 9 in each of the 4 components. Trust me, you will score this 9 as a doctor. It's very much easy if you apply yourself to score a 9 in CELPIP than to score a 7 in IELTS. I can categorically tell you that. Then, moreover, national guidelines via Medical and Dental Council of Canada also outline other commonly accepted tests. This is where you will see the OET. So I'm still going to discuss it as we go through this video. But I'm trying to explain to you that if you have the opportunity to write IELTS General or CELPIP General, left for me advising you, I will say please pick up CELPIP General and write. For those of us in Nigeria, CELPIP General is being written in Lagos, Nigeria, and you can apply for it and write it. You can easily get 9 in CELPIP General than a 7 in IELTS General. Then for IELTS General, which is what we all know, even the academic component, you have to have a minimum of 7 in each of them. So the OET, which is Occupational English Test for the medicine version, you will have a minimum grade of what? B in each of the subsets. CELPIP is 9 across all components. That's writing, reading, listening, and what again? The other one. So the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba now accept IELTS General as of March 2025. So you can see things are really changing. And that's why I say that whenever you see me put out something here, is a new development and you have to leverage it before another thing comes up. Why? Because things are changing. So it was just in March 2025 that College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba started accepting IELTS General. Previously, it used to be IELTS Academic for doctors. So this is following a regulatory update to align with Manitoba's Fair Registration Practice registration. This is it for you to know that things are changing and you need to do what? Leverage the things that are changing to become a better version of you and the doctor that you want to be. I'm sure you want to practice in Canada because it gives you that holistic approach of practicing in different continents. You practicing in your country and also practicing in Canada will give you that experience. For those of us that like clinical medicine, there are some people that do not like clinical medicine. They like community medicine, some like laboratory medicine. But either way, whichever one you want, just know that right now you can now use IELTS General for Manitoba, and you can also use CELPIP General across different provinces. But for Manitoba, IELTS General is now applied. Okay, now we come to what exemptions, or what we call what waivers. Some of us have asked me severally, both on TikTok and on YouTube, how can I get waivers for English language tests, or must I write English language tests? If you meet some criteria, you may likely get a waiver for English language test. So I'm just going to outline what are the possible things that could happen, or the possible scenarios that will help you get waivers for English language test to practice as a doctor in Manitoba. So the one of the things is this: if you are a doctor and you studied in English, just let's take it that you are an international medical graduate and you studied in St. Lucia or the Caribbeans, where English language is their primary language of communication or primary language of a study, you are likely going to get exemption. So, which is what they said. In some cases, exemption if the applicant holds a current medical license in any Canadian province or territory and practices primarily in English. So if you are already in Canada and you hold any medical license in Canada, and you have been practicing in English, you can get a waiver to practice in Manitoba. That's for those that want to move province. Then, if your undergraduate or postgraduate medical education was conducted in English in a country where English is the first or native language, just such as Canada, the US, UK, Australia, and others listed in the policy. You can see this policy. Let me show you. This, you look at this place. You can look at this and copy it. Just write it down, put it in Google, and you will Google and see different countries where if you studied in these countries, you can get a waiver. Or let's say you have been in Canada and you have studied in Canada, probably you've done masters or PhD, and you've studied for a whole 3 to 4 years of your life in English language in Canada. You can do what? Put all these things together and use it and apply for English language waiver on the Physicians Apply website, so that you will give them opportunity to verify, have you really been studying in English, or have you done things in English language? So this is one of the major things that can help you to get a waiver. So because I'm not seeing any reason, if you finished a master's in Canada, probably 2 years master's, and you've worked in Canada for over a year, you should be able to request a waiver, and I'm sure they are going to grant you the waiver if all things being equal. So know that you can get a waiver, because some of us have really been struggling with this, and right now I want you to know that getting a waiver is a possibility, and you can get that waiver if you follow suit with all the things that I have listed. So that's something that you can actually try out. Okay, you can also get exemptions if the applicant can provide strong evidence of English usage in training or practice. For example, you have over 50% of medical education in English language, over 50% of patient care delivered in English language, or other substantial clinical, academic, or teaching experience conducted in English. This is me trying to explain what I have previously said, and everything I'm saying, you can go to this website that is listed here and do what? And check it out, so that you will see everything that I am saying. So what will happen is this: if you have over 50% of your medical education in English language, probably you're from India and you schooled in the Caribbean, you already have more than 50% of your medical education in English. So if you can prove this, get a letter from the school to say, okay, you studied in English language, and you also being able to prove that you have been practicing in English language. Probably you've left your country, you're practicing in United Arab Emirates, and you're practicing in English language. Trust me, you can collect letters from these places you are practicing. That's the different places. Put these letters together and submit it as your proof of practice in English language. They will go through it to make consideration, and once they make that consideration and see, okay, what this person provided is actually enough evidence to say that they have been practicing in English language, you can get a waiver. That's the truth. So each exemption is considered case by case, and evidence must be evaluated and accepted by the registrar. So when you submit, the registrar will have to go through it, evaluate it, and see, is this what us accepting? If it's what accepting, you can do what? Get accepted, and you will get your English language test waived. But one thing is this, that I will always say, if you don't try, you will not know if you're going to get. So I will always say, do what? Try first to see if you can get a waiver before you write IELTS, or before you write CELPIP, or before you write OET. Try out to see if you could get a waiver. I hope this is making sense to some of us. Then the different English language tests and their required scores, just like I've mentioned before. Here, I just did it table by table so that you understand, and also how you can get exemption or waivers for your English language test to practice in Manitoba. IELTS General, you need a minimum component of greater than or equal to what? 9. IELTS Academic, you need a minimum component scores or greater than or equal to what? 7. OET Medicine, minimum grade B. CELPIP General, minimum component greater than or equal to what? 9. And my point is this, please, instead of you writing IELTS, I would advise you to write CELPIP. Reason being that the chances that you're going to get this 9 in CELPIP is higher than in IELTS. I don't know what is wrong with IELTS and how they mark their script. So exemption, current Canadian license plus primary English practice. It is a case-by-case review. So when you see it, you will know. Then exemption, educating or training primarily in English from English native countries, case-by-case review. Exemption, majority of your exposures to English in training or in practice or even working is a case-by-case review. So there is no size fits it all. When they review and see that, okay, you are qualified, they can comfortably say, okay, this person is qualified to get a waiver, and you will get a waiver. And once you get a waiver, you continue your processes of practicing in Canada. Then if taking a test, probably you've gone through this and you've seen, okay, there is no way I'm going to be qualified for a waiver. What will I now advise you to do is what? If you have to take a test, choose one of the accepted formats: IELTS General, IELTS Academics, CELPIP General, or OET, the medicine component, and meet the required scores. CELPIP General greater than or equals to 9 per component is frequently chosen for its Canadian what? Alignment. So this is me telling you what? CELPIP, because CELPIP is a Canadian exam, and if you write it and get up to that 9, trust me, you're going to get what you want. Instead of you going to write an IELTS academic and struggling to get a 7. If seeking an exemption, prepare thorough documentation, your academic transcript to show that you studied what in English language, official letters from where you studied or where you are working, your clinical experiences or rotations saying you have done this in English, or your teaching records to support your claim of sufficient English what? Proficiency. Submit evidence via your physicianapply.ca. See it here. physicianapply.ca, the account. Go there and submit it. If you have not opened the account on Physicians Apply, there is a video I made on how you can do what? Register your name with Physicians Apply of Canada so that you get your documents verified. If you have not done that, it's something you can easily go there, open an account, get your documents verified, so that once you see these opportunities, you will do what? Leverage it. When I made that video, those of them that verified their documents that period, when British Columbia waived them NACOS key and waive the MCCQ1, most of them got the opportunity to do what? Apply for that opportunity. So right now, if you have intention of leaving your country, the first thing you should do is what? Go to this Physicians Apply. I made a video on step by step on how you're going to do that. You can watch that video. There have been 2 different videos I've made concerning you practicing in Canada. You can go and scroll down and watch those 2 videos. It's going to give you the basic knowledge that you will need to actually start your process of practicing in Canada. And also ensure it's accessible to College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba for verification and evaluation of exemption eligibility. Because if they can't verify it, they can't say, okay, you are qualified for exemption or you are not qualified for exemption. So whether exemption or waiver, either way, let it be what? Be verifiable. Whatever you are presenting should be verifiable. This is what I tell anybody. And I hope this makes sense to you. If it has made sense to you, please, you can share this with your friend or your family that you know may benefit from this. That being said, remember to subscribe, like, share, and drop your comments in the comment section. I definitely will respond to those comments. Thank you.